Hi guys, welcome to another Barb Stamps video. Today's video we're going to talk a little bit about the Coffee Cafe bundle, and I'm going to show you how I made this card. The card is pretty cool. It's one of those fun folds that we all like to do. This one is very simple, so I will show you how to do the fun fold. We'll do some stamping, some die cutting, but I did want to tell you a little bit about the Coffee Cafe bundle. It is shown on page 31 in our annual catalog. The bundle includes this stamp set and the set of framelits that comes with the set. This suite, the Coffee Break Suite, you can see some projects there, very cool, also includes the Coffee Break Designer Series paper, these corrugated elements, which are pretty cool. A featured ribbon in the collection is the classic weave ribbon, and that comes in white, soft sky, and crumb cake. So let's go over the dies a little bit and kind of talk about what they do, what each piece does. Dump them out. There's 13 dies in the set, and I always do write the number of dies in the corner of my packaging because that way it's easy for me to know if I've lost one, which does happen because sometimes they just get misplaced. I usually always find them though, so that's good. I'm just going to pop that up to try to reduce the glare. Maybe there. Okay, so the stamp set does include a straw, and it does include the die set includes a die to cut out the straw. So you can cut out the long straw, or you can cut out this little tiny piece of the straw here. So that's that. We've got the little oval that can crop this little greeting here, which is fun. We've got the coffee wrap die. I'll show you on this card here. This is the coffee wrap die right here. So it actually cuts it and then embosses it. So I hope you can see it's got those kind of embossed lines on there. So that's a pretty cool die. We've got the little tag, which is pretty self-explanatory. It'll just cut out a super cute little tag. This little guy here is like the little stopper that the coffee places put in your cup to prevent it from spilling. And that's this little thing right here. And you can see that also has a couple of stamps. We've got the glare back. A couple of stamps that you can also put in the top of this little stopper. So in this one, I've used the open heart for that little stopper. This little guy here is the coffee beans. So we've got the coffee bean stamp, the little stamped image here from the set. You stamp it and then you can crop it out with the little coffee bean die here. Okay, of course we've got some of the cups. Here's two different sizes of cups. We've got the large and the smaller cup. This particular card here does use the larger cup die, and I just cropped it out of the Coffee Break Designer Series paper. We've also got another coffee wrap. This one does not include any embossing, so it just cuts out the wrap. So you could actually use it for this little stamp right here. You could crop that and you could use that as your coffee wrap. We've got the plastic topper that goes over some of the fun drinks that have all the whipped cream on them, so that you have a stamp there, and you can crop that out to put over the top of your coffee cup. And here's a sample of that coffee cup topper here, and you can see the whipped cream behind. So we've also got the whipped cream die that will just crop out the whipped cream, and we also have the stamp for that. So it actually does give a little bit of detail, some highlights of what the whipped cream would look like. This, of course, is just your standard coffee top. It'll cut out the stamped image here, or like I did on this card here, it's just plain. You could color it. You could use patterned paper. I just chose white for that one. And finally, we have this little coffee cup here. And when I first got the stamp set, I thought to myself, well, what does this go to? There's no stamps. You could just cut it out. It would be very cute. But then it dawned on me, I know what it is. One of the pieces of Designer Series paper in the Coffee Break package has these little coffee cups. Check that out. You can die cut those little gems and use them on your project. And that's what I'm going to do on my card today. So let's get to that card. I've got a piece of Whisper White here, and I'm going to use some early espresso ink. And I've got the Happiness is a Cup of Coffee Shared with a Friend stamp. So we'll just ink that up. We're just going to stamp it down onto the white. And then I'm going to die cut this with the Stitched Shapes framelits, the oval. I'm also going to use the layering oval framelits and die cut an oval, scallop oval out of this piece here. So I'll be right back. All right, so I've used the largest stitch shape oval framelit to crop the words, and then I used the largest scallop oval from the layering ovals framelits to crop the oval that's going to go behind. I do want to add a tiny little heart on this just to give it a little bit of dimension, or a little bit of interest, excuse me. And so I purposely cut it so that I had more room up at the top than I did at the bottom, so that I could put the little heart on there. So there we go. And then I'll glue these two pieces together. Close my ink pad so I don't make a mess of myself. I've also got a piece of Pear Pizzazz here, and I'm going to use the old olive ink pad, and I'm going to stamp a partial straw on this. So I'm just going to ink up a little tiny bit of the straw there. I'm bringing a scratch piece of paper here real quick, just so I can do that without messing up my grid paper. And I'll just stamp a straw on that. And I'm going to use the straw die to just go cut this out. So I need to cut out that. I cut one of my little coffee cups, trimmed it out of the designer series paper, so I need to die cut that. And I'm going to do those two things and I'll be right back. All right, so here's my little straw. And look at that. Isn't that awesome? This little cup just cuts that right out of that paper perfectly. I'm so excited about that. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of glue to my straw, just a little bit down there at the bottom. And then I'm going to stick it in my cup. Now this straw, I want it to kind of hang over just a little bit on the diagonal and just a little bit of it popping out. Okay, so I've got that little piece done. These I'm going to glue together. Just going to add some glue to the back of this oval. Get it on here so it's centered. I think that looks good. Okay. Then I've got a piece of cardstock here. This is Early Espresso, and I have cut it to 4 1/4 by 11, and then I scored it at 5 1/2 and 2 3/4. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold it on the 5 1/2 inch mark. Get my bone folder out here, give that a nice crisp crease, and then I'm going to fold back on the 2 3/4 inch one. So I'm actually going to open it up so I can see that it's even on all sides. Use my bone folder again to get a nice crisp fold. And there we have our fun fold. Super simple. I wasn't kidding. All right, so out of the Coffee Break Designer Series paper, I did cut a 2 1/2 by 4 inch piece of this heart pattern. So we're just going to add some glue here. Get that right centered in that top section of the fold. Okay, there we go. This piece I'm just going to kind of mount, so I'm only going to put glue on the top section of this, okay? If you put glue on the whole thing, you're going to have a little bit of a mess. So, get that on here so it's centered from side to side. I'm not necessarily centering it from top to bottom. I'm just kind of sticking it where I think it looks good, but I do want it centered from side to side. All right, I think that looks all right. Our little coffee cup, I'm going to use a mini Stampin' Dimensional because I just want to hook it on the side. Boy, I am just tossing stuff all over the place, aren't I? All right, so I'm just going to put this, where do I want it? Right here on the edge. Press that down. Peel off the backing, and then I'm just going to add my cup about like so. And so for the inside piece, we're going to need some washi tape. So I am using the Basics Pack number 3 washi tape collection. It includes colors in Bermuda Bay, Dapper Denim, Island Indigo, Night of Navy, and Pool Party. And I'm using Pool Party cardstock here. So I'm just going to pop this open, and I want this little skinny striped, one. And when I use washi tape, I always like to use my silicone mat. It just helps so my washi tape doesn't get stuck to anything else. And so I'm just going to do this at the very top. Good Lord, pardon me while I get my head down there to make sure it's at the edge, because I'm old and can't see. I think that's close. Okay, so I've got that to the top. And then I'm just going to snip off the excess here. Get the silicone mat out of the way, give that a good press. I'm going to add this to the inside of the card. Okay, and here's my little trick for adding layers to insides of cards. I always want them to be evenly spaced on 3 sides. This edge, and this edge. Here, I don't really care that much because it's going to be a brown. The early espresso color is going to be at the fold line, and so if this isn't right even with the fold line, or if it's not evenly spaced, it isn't going to matter because you're not going to be able to tell because it's still early espresso. But these 3 edges do matter, so I do try to line up those 3 edges. Okay, we are just about done. All we need to do now is add kind of an inside panel, and I've got that cut with some crumb cake. I used the same large stitched shape oval to cut this piece. And I want to add another little heart. We used the kind of little wood grain pattern heart on the top there. And this one I'm going to use the solid heart. Or not solid heart, the open heart, excuse me. I'm just going to stamp that right down there at the bottom. And then this piece is going to go underneath. So I'm just going to kind of line it up. I'm going to add glue to the entire thing because I do want the whole thing stuck down. And so I'm just going to kind of line it up underneath here and kind of close it. But since I'm using liquid glue, I can reposition it a little bit so that it's where I want it to be. Even on both sides. And then when it's closed, it's covered up. So there I have a little place to write a message. And my last thing that I wanted to do was add a little coffee bean. Some coffee beans down here in the corner. Just for some more interest. Oh, those are adorable. And that's the card. So simple. Everything was easily die cut. Add a little bit of interest with our washi tape, the designer series paper, and of course the die cuts and the designer series paper. So give this video a thumbs up for that tip with the paper, right? If you want to subscribe to my channel to be notified when I upload new videos, you can do so right here in the corner. I would love to earn your business at shoppingwithbarb.com. I do offer free gifts with purchase. You can check those out on my blog at barbstamps.com. And I just hope that you all have a wonderful day.